in the National Trans Am Series, and nearly 13 months since the lights went out for these guys.
So put yourself in the driver's seat here. Aaron Seaton, his dad, touring car legend Glenn, is here working on the car with him this weekend. Marcus Ambrose, two-time Supercars champion, on the radio to Owen Kelly beside him. We're about to go racing. It's a stacked field, particularly up the front. Great mix of marks. This is Trans Am. We're ready to rumble in Tasmania. The opening race of the season for them. Kelly versus Seaton. We're about to get the flag, which will get us underway. Field bunches up nicely. And there's even more of these cars across the country. We'll see their numbers swell throughout 2021. Kelly's on the outside, but he hustles it, gets it done. That's a decisive move.
On the race line too, so the Fujitsu 73 takes us through turn number 1. Everybody well behaved, and down towards turn 4. I spoke too soon. Car in the fence. It was Tim Shaw in the 66. Now, will there be steering damage on that car? It's a very tight part of the racetrack. That was in the mid-pack scramble. Everybody else in the front was in single file heading down to turn 4.
He's very lucky if there's not.
The dust being kicked up in the background there, but the Tasmanian Owen Kelly back out in front in familiar colours and a familiar number heading down towards turn number 6 the first time. Defending champion Aaron Seaton tucks in behind. In car number 1, Nathan Hearn is behind him, and Brett Holdsworth holding down position 4 as they come through to complete the first of 18 laps here in Symmons Plain.
You said it's a familiar number. 73 is Owen Kelly's dad, Chaz's race number. Chaz has competed in Speedway in this country going back over time. I think it was for his 70th birthday, Matt. They found his old race car in a paddock. The family, they had it restored and returned to original condition. What a great thing to celebrate for Chaz.
Talk of legendary status. That guy is like hero status down in this part of the world. Into turn number 4 we go, lap 2. So first 4, as we predicted from qualifying, start to disappear. Kyle Gurton holds down 5th. McAllister, Sam Walter, LaChalpo, who had 2 spins during qualifying earlier today, and Eden Thornborough inside the top 10 in 9th spot ahead of Graham Smith.
It's Brett Holdsworth holding down 4th place at the moment. Some good sectors popping up from different people. Holdsworth quick through the middle sector. Aaron Seaton fastest in sector 1. Been enjoying a bit of a good podcast in the lead up to this event with our old buddy, the V8 sleuth, Aaron Noonan, talking about Lee Holdsworth. That was his guest. And they were chatting about his brother, Brett. Brett's a bit taller. Lee joked about the fact that, you know, were we 100% sure he was really my brother? So
He did it modest with a bit taller too.
They went different directions.
Yeah.
Brett's gone off and done some very good things in business. Lee's focused on a career in professional motor racing, and, you know, a very proud family of the boys and both of their achievements. I think it's awesome that Brett is back behind the wheel.
Yeah, nearly 2 decades since his last real competitive run. He came back to Adelaide last year, but then took the rest of the year off like many of us did. Heading through the right-hand sweeper, you're looking from Aaron Seaton just ahead. Is Owen Kelly, your race leader. Loads of experience from the man in car 73. His career started back in the mid-90s. In fact, when I first started racing, he was our driver for the Toll team. He had a really big crash at Phillip Island in 1996, which put him out for a long time. He came back with the support of Toll and ran for 3 seasons in Formula Ford, and then went on to do some great stuff overseas. It's great to see him back in this class. This is Owen Kelly all over.
Most definitely. Family runs a very successful transport business. He is very busy with that. And in talking to Marcus Ambrose, I just thought there's a little bit of, is that from Aaron Cameron? I wonder, some of the dirt that's off of the, just before they get into the hairpin there. I was worried about Owen just getting that right front wheel into that. No dramas at the moment, though.
So we got Freestone, McKeldin and Shaw, so clearly issues with his car. They're all back in the pits, so that thumbs down continues to stay thumbs down for Matt McKeldin in the first race of the National Trans Ams. Here's a replay heading down, and that was Freestone getting it all wrong, tagging the wall. So there's where your dust came from, right in front of the roadway sign, heading to turn number 4, and unsurprisingly, the 25 back in the pits, and same too for McKeldin.
Something in the rear there. You know, you could tell the way the team were addressing it. Didn't look right at all. Back to Owen Kelly. Nathan Hearn getting closer to these two while they battle, and Hearn bolting together some very good laps.
So Nathan Hearn starting to close in on the guys in the front. Lap 5 of 18. Very quick laps here. The fastest lap of the race, 55.2 by the Valvoline entry of Nathan Hearn, who sits in 3rd spot. Holdsworth is next, but they've got about 3 seconds back to Girton and Hugh McAllister, the top 6.
Freestone rejoining in pit lane just beneath us here, so whatever that issue is, they seem to be on top of it. No luck though for McKeldin and Tim Shaw. Back to the front, Owen Kelly controlling things. 13 remain in our first Trans Am race of the season. You ride with Aaron Seaton now.
A big burst of sunshine suddenly over the top of Symmons Plains. There was dark clouds all around us. They seem to have separated now, giving us some great playing conditions in Tasmania today. So 1/3 race distance. We're in car with Aaron Seaton, heading down towards turn number 4. These Hoosier tyres all come up to temperature, and they start to settle into a groove in this race.
On board there a moment ago just reminds you about some good old school racing, doesn't it? 4-speed H-pattern gearbox. Most of the drivers just literally push it through. You can bang it through the gearbox. That's what it's designed to do. That's what it's capable of. But some of them still use the traditional old heel and toe method.
Just to take the pressure off. Here is car 8 facing the wrong direction. And turn 4, easy to do. Remember that tailwind? It's not as strong looking out of our commentary box now as what it was earlier today, but certainly does affect the top end speed. Most cars around 225 k's an hour on the back straight towards the speed trap. 12 remaining in race number 1. Owen Kelly, less than half a second separate he and Aaron Seaton. And Hearn still holding down 3rd position, just looming in the background of that shot and that smartly prepared Valvoline entry.
We've mentioned to you about Marcus Ambrose being the crew chief for the 73 of Owen Kelly. He is just as kind of committed, and he's having a laugh obviously and some fun, but he's properly into this and making sure that Owen has a very good weekend.
Oh, that was another scary moment there, splitting 2 cars at the bottom. That was Hadrian Morale in 15th position now on the track. See McAllister looks on at the top. Great vantage points here on pit straight. Of course, the McAllisters around back in the V8 Utes days. Good to see some of those guys still out having fun in season 2021. Back to our leaders, the top 3 covered by half a second. Make it 1 second now to Nathan Hearn, who's now the fastest car on the circuit once again.
He's been chipping away, hasn't he? Hugh McAllister, who Ian no doubt would be on the radio to, is in position 6 at present. So that's a good job in the second of the Kubota Mustangs. There is a 3rd car that they are looking... Oh, he's through!
So Hearn gets the job done at turn number 4 on Seaton, goes up to 2nd spot as they go past the limping Paul Freestone. Holdsworth in the background. Seaton tucks in behind. Hearn on the way down to turn 7. So Hearn, the big mover, he's got plenty of time. He'll have 10 laps to go at the end of this.
How good's that dodge look between the Mustangs?
It's awesome. Looks good and goes just as good. Another lap in the books. So all in the 55-second range now. Oh, and Hearn comes in almost inside out. They're so cool to watch these cars through that roller coaster of turn 1, the change of direction when the cars get unsettled. That hard turn back to the left. Seen some great in-car shots already today here at Boost Mobile Race Tasmania. Halfway home, Owen Kelly continues to lead. Let's go back to the pits.
Well, speaking of superstar royalty in the motorsport, Marcus Ambrose here, NASCAR's champion, Supercars champion. You're on the tools, mate. How are you enjoying the nervous energy about watching other people drive around a track?
Oh, it's pretty good. Owen and myself have been in retirement for about 5 years. I think it's been about 4 years since Owen's done a car race. We hadn't seen this car. We haven't done more than 6 laps, more than a couple of weeks ago. So we're pretty pumped to be running the front. He's complaining about a long brake pedal right now. We do have a very aggressive car set up. It's low, it's pretty stiff. We didn't expect to be at the front for this long, to be honest. So we'll just see how we go. But Owen's driving well. It's fun to be out here. It's great that Gary Rogers and the whole series here has put on such a great show, being well supported by the crowd. Let's hope we can stick it to the finish here. But we're retiring in 2 weeks, and we are for hire. So if you want to go fast, give us a call.
Well, there you go. Everyone around in motorsport, don't be afraid to give him a call. So he's back on the tools, back racing, and great to have such a legend at the motorsport park. Thank you.
Hodgie, absolutely. He looks busy, Marcus. Just what's written on your hand, Brad Hodge? You've been writing a few stats and notes and bits and pieces to stay across things. Great catch up with Marcus Ambrose. And weren't you kind of just teleported there for a moment? The way Marcus approaches his racing, the way he speaks about it. It's like we went to Talladega for a moment or something, wasn't it?
And if you close your eyes, you feel like it's 2004 again.
Exactly.
He's got the enthusiasm. Yeah. The Marcus Ambrose Motorsport shirt as well. So a sign of things to come, perhaps, in 2021. While Owen Kelly, I had a laugh then when he said, we didn't expect to be at the front this long. We're just come here to have some fun.
Well, Marcus alluded to something too. 8 laps to go. Hearn looks racy. Owen Kelly is battling a long brake pedal. So he's going to have to manage that as we, you know, this is the place, particularly here, turn 4, slowest point of the circuit. Owen's taking a very wide line through there. He's going to have to look after it, isn't he?
Absolutely, Will. And remember, these tyres, these Hoosier tyres, the bag tyres, they've got the carcass on the outside, of course, a rubber bag on the inside, so they do unsettle.
They move around.
Yeah, they do move around a lot. We saw that from the in-car of Aaron Seaton just before when he was tailing this guy. And Hearn has dropped back towards Seaton here now. Gap is out to nearly 0.8 of a second. With 7 laps to go here in race 1, the National Trans Am Series.
As we said before, Owen's dad, Chaz, has been here supporting him. Wife and kids back in Melbourne, no doubt, watching on. His son just loves cars and racing. So to know that dad is out in front doing the job at the moment by 0.9 of a second, he'll be thrilled with that. We go back. Oh, Holdsworth. Nice. That was nice.
He found the freestone dirt on the right-hand side there and lucky to pull up the 99. The 2-car assault with Tim Shaw, who's out of this race. He's been in the pit since the end of the first lap after contact with the wall on the left-hand side. McKeldin also out, and Tim Brook has gone into the pits, and now Frank Scatella has come to a stop, and that's on the exit of turn number 2.
On the run up to the bridge there. So, yellow flag. Will we get a safety car scenario here? We'll keep an eye on it. Race control right beside us here in our commentary position as the leading group come past that car. Hearn's recovered here. So is this to do with the long brake pedal of Owen Kelly, or did Nathan just kind of cool things off for a little bit for another attack? Looking down the inside, he's going to have a go here. Nathan Hearn for the race lead. Owen on the outside. Drag race, Mustang versus Dodge. Little bit of paint traded there, maybe. Rubbin's racing.
A classic turn for at Symmons Plains, the over-under effect. And they'll go side by side. How many times have we seen this over the years? And Aaron Seaton will go past as well, using the toe of the Hearn car just ahead. So suddenly, Kelly goes from first to third in the space of half a kilometre.
6 nail-biting laps to come here in Trans Am. It's not done yet. Owen Kelly won't mind chasing for a bit. Brett Holdsworth, look at this, he's in the mix, he's back in the mix again.
Can't pass through here now with the Scatella car parked on the right-hand side, so there won't leave you much of a chance to do it down here at turn number 4. Brett Holdsworth, the TPS group entry, runs in 4th position as our new race leader Nathan Hearn leads Seaton and Kelly. They've got about 8 seconds back to Kyle Gurton here. There's now another drag race coming out of turn number 4, this time with Holdsworth. And he's on the outside and should get it done now. Is there an issue for 73? It's dropping back here. So Owen Kelly in the Fujitsu car, more than just a long brake pedal maybe.
Definitely something going wrong for Owen Kelly. We'll get the team in pit lane on to that. Hearn continues to lead. Brett Holdsworth now up into 3rd position. And Matt, you touched on it there a moment ago too. We should just say well done. Garage 1, Morris Finance Racing, Kyle Gurton doing a nice job.
This is the replay for the lead down at turn number 4. They went side by side with a bit of feeling on the exit. Both guys fighting the steering wheels. And then as they went down the back straight through the sweeper, Seaton tucked in behind Hearn and would get past Owen Kelly at the same time. Kelly dropping back now. He's already lost 2 seconds on this lap alone. So now it's Hearn and Seaton. How quickly it changes in Trans Am competition. 4 laps to go in race 1.
Decent amount of dirt being kicked up by the looks of it off turn 2, but I'm not sure who by. We'll continue to follow this here. Here we go. And we were just singing the praises of Girton, that Morris Finance entry, that answers the question.
We? Or was it you? I had to do it.
Just throw me straight under the bus. Thank you.
Drop me right down. Sorry, Rusty, had to do it. It'll come back to bite me at the worst possible time. Oh, Hearn locks up this time into turn number 1. Remember, it's still a yellow through this section. I am going to pay for that, aren't I?
No, that's all right. It's okay.
Down towards turn number 4. They're on the opposite sides of the racing line here. 3 to go. You just get the feeling Seaton won't do this until the last lap. You always want to be the chaser in this scenario. Blue flag's been waved. That's for the slower cars ahead. So where did Girton end up in all of this? Down in 9th position after the lose down at turn number 1 ahead of Smith. Aaron Tebb just on the outside in 11th spot ahead of Chick, Cruncher, Morale and Freestone, who's back on the circuit, but 2 laps down. 2 laps to go now.
Yep. And don't forget, of course, big year coming up for Aaron Seaton. Really excited to announce in recent days that he'll be with Matt Stone Racing for Super 2 as we see a brake lock up from Nathan Hearn. Manages it through turn 2. Seaton senses opportunity here. Time running out. Aaron's managed this nicely, hasn't he?
He sure has. And that's the second lock up now for Hearn at turn number 1. He's almost like he's backing Seaton up here. Think, oh, this is a big moment for the 27. That's in the tyre wall hard at turn 6. It's Graham Smith, and he's buried in the tyres, so he's gone over the sand trap and right off the racetrack now for the man that raced in Toyota 86 Series for the last few seasons. Waved yellows down at 6 as the leaders come around to complete another lap. I'm looking at the starters tower at the same time. They'll go on by to start this, the last lap.
Motorsport Tasmania crew are down there, and he was certainly had a hand out the window, perhaps gesturing to them. We'll keep an eye on that for you. Meantime, we're focused on the race here. Nathan Hearn, we talked about it in qualifying for Trans Am today, with a point to prove. Super race for this young man. Leads in the Dodge. Brett Holdsworth completing the top 3. Owen Kelly has held on to 4th, but there is more to that story. Had led the majority of this race. What has happened to the 73?
It sounded horrible going past us on that last lap, so he's dropped now down to 5th behind Walter. As down the back straight we go for the final time. There's a yellow being waved here for the Smith car in the tyre wall. This guy is an absolute superstar, much like his dad was on the dirt tracks in V8 Dirt Modifieds. And will come around to take the win in race number 1 of the National Trans Ams. Give it to Nathan Hearn here at Symmons Plains by just over a car length. Back to Aaron Seaton, back to Holdsworth and Sam Walter, who got ahead of Owen Kelly in the Fujitsu car, car 73. Have a listen to it as it comes past here. It's just going to get to the line. There it is. So more than the brake pedal. LaChalpo just getting home there for 8th position ahead of Girton and Aaron Tebb. But Nathan Hearn, how good is this kid?
Terrific. It's a good story. I know there's been lots of debate about it in the past 12 months, and you know the bid to get this young man a start at Bathurst. But this is what it's all about, showcasing what he can do in the right place and continuing on that ladder, that path.
Well done. And just under a second between he and Seaton, who claimed pole earlier today. Holdsworth will be 3rd at the end of race number 1. Sam Walter, great drive for the Tasmanian in 4th position, ahead of Owen Kelly, so the Tasmanian fans will be happy with that result. Eden Thornborough outside the top 10 to finish in position 6. Hugh McAllister, Zach LaChalpo, Kyle Girton and Brad Chick, your top 10.
So well done to Hugh McAllister, the lone Kubota Racing entry, because we saw very early on in the pit lane, Matty McKeldin with some sort of issue with the rear of that car, and a shame for Tim Shaw as well. That is the first of 3 races for the weekend, and hasn't that whet the appetite for a great